A very good morning and welcome to the Early Edge. They say it's a slow sports day, but we got a big cast that says otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 52 days away from NFL season, otherwise known as Patrick Willis days away. We got some NFL futures for you on this show, but before we look at the future, let's take a look at the past. Let's look at the recap screen from Friday. It's a losing day, 4-7. Baseball didn't treat us great. I lost a couple of golf picks. I got to concede there, but if you follow my picks on Twitter and on the Early Wedge, you cashed in big with a first-round leader and a hit on William Mao at 70-1 at the ISCO. So it was an up-and-down day for this Early Edge team, but let's go ahead and bring in the stars of the show to make it an up day, period. We got Mackenzie Brooks. We got Mike McClure. We got PropStarz. We got buckets. It's a big day. People are saying, hey, we're Jason Pogwist in the chat said, I'm going to reintroduce myself to my kids and my wife because it's such a slow sports day. Jason, hold the phone. Hold on. I think we got something for you today. Mackenzie Brooks, how you doing?
I'm feeling good. We still have some WNBA action before they head into their All-Star break at the end of the week. So really nothing will be going on. But other than that, feeling good. I got my new sweatshirt on with Saquon Barkley.
I am not going to acknowledge that sweatshirt. We are not going to. It's a Saquon Barkley sweatshirt. Is that right, Mackenzie?
Correct. Avalon, New Jersey. The whole Jersey Shore is very good at like romanticizing Eagles gear into like female wear.
All right. All right. Pretty strong. Mike, you were pretty strong in golf. There was a lot of tweets that I got about your DFS picks from last week. We got the Open Championship coming up. We got the Barracuda Alt event, which I'm always interested in. How you doing today? And do you already have a golf pick for us today?
I already have a golf pick. I am doing great. It was a very, very good weekend in the golf streets. Fired up. You know, it's All-Star break. I enjoy a little bit of a break from baseball, but mostly because the All-Star break for me is the unofficial start of the football season. Yes. It's just when I dive in a little bit more and start throwing out tons of best ball teams and just kind of recharging a bit because we're like 35 days away from, in my opinion, of like really being in it and college football right around the corner. So we're here and I'm loving it. And one more golf major to go.
Yeah, 52 days away. If you have a favorite 52, put it in the chat. Proppy, speaking of the NFL, you brought an NFL future with you today, correct?
I did see it. Yeah, I'm fired up. It's all systems go with NFL futures. Maybe my favorite market to bet in my favorite sport as well. So I've already put out quite a few plays. Everything that I've personally wagered on, I dropped in our Discord. So if you're a SportsLine subscriber and you don't have access, or you do have access to the Discord, but you're not in there, I would strongly encourage you to check out the Discord. All of us are in there at various times, and there's a great community that has formed as well.
Really, really great community. Buckets, you're part of that great community. I know you have soccer for us today, but I couldn't help but notice there were people clamoring in the chat before the show. And thank you for being in here. Hit the like button if you could. As Brent Hall says, Khalil Mack, that's a great 52. Christian Hastings says Ray Lewis. Buckets, do you know who either of those two people are? And are you going to have a home run derby pick for us later?
I do know who Ray Lewis is because I played him in some variation of NFL, some PlayStation 2 game back in the day. So I've heard the name before, and I could definitely get a home run play. It won't be me. It'll be the dice. But as long as we're cool with that, I can make something happen.
Yeah, and I think Mackenzie might have a home run look as well. By the way, it's July 14th. Happy Bastille Day to everyone that celebrates. Buckets, kick us off with some soccer.
Absolutely, Sia. I will do just that because we've got a bit of a weird matchup taking place in Iceland, of all places today. It's a bit of a slow day in the footy world as well, but you know that we will always make something happen. We've got a match between IA Akrans taking on KR Reykjavik, and I have said 100 times on this show that, hey, we're betting on this game because this team doesn't really play defense. This team is bad at defense. This team is blah, blah, blah. That's irrelevant compared to how these two teams play. We have two actual teams that do not care at all about defense. It's so much the over or under is currently set to 4.5 goals. So my bet for this game is the same game parlay of both teams to score an over 3.5. It's minus 130. It's a little bit of juice, but all I want to do, Sia, is read the recent goals or the recent score lines from Reykjavik's games. 2-1, 3-2, 6-1, 3-2, 4-2, 3-2, 4-3, 11-0, 4-2, 4-1, 3-3, 2-2. It is the least defensive-minded team you've ever seen in Iceland, playing the second least defended-minded team you've ever seen in Iceland. The last 2 times they played, over 4.5 goals was hit in both of these games as well. Just sit back, relax, and just wait for the chaos. That's all you got to do in this game.
Sit back and what did you say? Wait for the chaos? I'm excited to do that on a Monday and I quote slow sports day. By the way, can you start rolling the dice soon, Buckets? Because there's some people who like a certain home run derby winner that I mentioned. I mean, I very casually mentioned it before the show. I just want to know where your dice lands before we give Brasco and Ian Lights Out their shout out for who's going to win the home run derby. Mackenzie, any thoughts? I know you have a WNBA pick coming up. I don't know if you want to wait to give out a couple of derby plays. And let's be honest, like these derby plays, we're just having some fun. We're sprinkling here. These are not like honing in on crazy analytics that we've got one up on everybody else in the industry. With that said, Mackenzie, any leans?
Yeah, it's funny. Jake Fettner, who does all of our home run props, who hit 2 more home runs yesterday on that Sunday slate, which is crazy. Strong way to go into the All-Star break. But he was looking into some like more interesting niche markets. O'Neal Cruz to record the highest exit velocity at plus 115, which I'm pretty sure he already leads everyone in the field in exit velocity. So getting him at plus money feels like a solid bet there. And then another one was James Wood over 20.5 round 1 home runs, because he's familiar with Atlanta since the Braves are in his division. And a few players hit 21 the first round last season. So I think the summer heat in Atlanta makes this possible. And he's 22. So maybe that helps with the endurance here.
All right. We've got a lot of James Wood votes from David, from Joe. I believe Gipper's picks also had James Wood, the Washington National. Buckets, did you roll the dice? Are we already ready for a player here?
We are good, but I'm kind of bummed out because it was not James Wood. I just did, it's an 8-sided dice, 1 to 8, going from top to bottom. It landed on a 6, which is Byron Buxton, is what the dice is saying.
Or Byron Buxton, either way.
Or Byron. Byron works too.
Hey, Aaron. Okay, Byron Buxton. I'm going to go with Brent Rooker. Brasco was in the chat. Ian Lights Out. They liked Brent Rooker. Again, I'm just sprinkling here. This is bet responsibly, everybody. But I'm going to go with Brent Rooker. Let's go to the WNBA, though, Mackenzie. Talk to me about Courtney Williams.
Yeah, we have 2 games today. Again, All-Star break will be happening just a few days later into this week. It was funny. Kylie in the chat was tweeting at me this morning and putting in the chat how they like Courtney Williams as well. And I think she's the perfect player to attack here. It's the Minnesota Lynx playing the Sky, and they just played 2 days earlier, and the Sky pulled off a mega upset against this Minnesota team. So I do think Minnesota comes back strong in this game. When I look at why this team lost, you try to look at some of these role players who had not their best game, but high volume shooting. And Courtney Williams had 13 points. And so she was just shy of this. She was 5 of 15 from the field, 1 of 5 from deep. So I have to have a feeling and a gut feeling that regression to the mean would tell you that she can get over this again. And she's gone over it comfortably in her past 4 games in general. So nothing she's not capable of against this team specifically. And I think we probably see the Sky in a bit of a letdown spot.
Okay, Courtney Williams over 13.5 points at minus 120. There was something I wanted to get to before I mentioned the podcast awards one more time. Oh, I remember. Wu-Tang Forever. It's your third. I wish I had your real name because it's kind of funny to be like, happy birthday, Wu-Tang Forever. That's not what they're singing when they say sing the happy birthday song. But if you want to drop your real name, let us know. But you turned 34 today. I know you're a big, I don't want to say fan, but I know you're a big time viewer of this show. We very much appreciate you. And a big happy birthday to Wu-Tang Forever, whatever your real name is. podcastawards.com/app/signup. That is a link that is going to be in the podcast description. It's on your screen right now, and it's in the YouTube description. On Friday, when we announced that the Early Edge was up for best male hosted podcast, we had people in the chat because you see it here. It takes like 60 seconds or less. I mean, it really takes 60 seconds or less to vote. And we had people in the chat that literally did it in 60 seconds or less. And they said in the chat, I already voted. So if you aren't one of those people, if you could go to podcastawards.com, that's the, I guess, the easier link to go to. Click on the blue button. It says sign up to vote now. You put your information in, which is really just creating a one-time password so that you can vote, and your email so that you're not a bot. That's how they verify you're not a bot. And then you literally just go to whatever podcast categories you want to go to, but you got to go to best male hosted podcast, scroll down, hit Early Edge, and then you're done. And you can vote for other pods. You go to Best Sports Podcast and vote for Cover 3 or Fantasy Football Today. There's a bunch of other CBS Sports podcasts you can vote for as well. But again, podcastawards.com. You can literally do that right now in 60 seconds. You can put in the chat, I already voted, already got it done. Jeff Stewart says voting was so easy. It really is. We're not tricking you here. It is very, very easy. Best male-hosted podcast, The Early Edge. Did you know, PropStarz, that in that category, your guy, the Kelsey brothers have that big podcast, and we can get off. We can go to the 5-shot here. Ben, did you know that one of the podcasts in the Early Edge category is the Kelsey brothers podcast and Jon Stewart's daily show, weekly daily show? We're in that. We're not in the sports category. We're just in the generic. Pretty cool, right? Like, we can beat those titans if we just get people to vote.
Incredible company. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Those are some big names. So, yeah, I'm not surprised, though.
Mike, have you voted yet?
I admittedly have not voted yet, but I will have voted by the time this show is over. That's how easy it is.
Buckets, Mackenzie, you probably haven't yet. You've been busy, but we're going to get head nods. Like, by the end of the day, we're going to vote for the Early Edge Best Male Hosted Podcast, right?
Correct.
All right.
Sia, I did it on BPE. We talked about this, and you said you were proud of me. Remember that?
I actually don't remember that.
Okay, that makes
I'm
sense.
no longer proud of you either.
Yeah,
well,
I expect you to log into the burner and vote as well.
Yes, Mike.
Yes, Buckets. That's right. That's right. Speaking of,
on them.
We got to take a break, and I want you to pay attention to what's going on in the break, but you could do two things at once. By the time the break is over, you could probably have already voted for the Early Edge Best Male Hosted Podcast. Let's hear that break right now.
We need your sports news anywhere.
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
All right, we are back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. And oh, by the way, it's Liddy's birthday today as well. Speaking of longtime viewers and big fans of the show, Liddy, we're big fans of you as well. You're so active, not just in the chat and Discord and in general. Liddy, a very, very happy birthday to you as well. If anybody else has a birthday, absolutely let us know. All right, let's go to Mike. I know you have a golf pick. Let me just really quickly give out we've got a couple NFL futures. I'm going to give out like a super long shot NFL future. Mackenzie, you've heard this one before. I'm going to Danielle Hunter, Defensive Player of the Year at 80-1. Listen, this is a long shot. This is a sprinkle bet if that's how you choose to bet it. But Danielle Hunter is an edge rusher for the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans have an unbelievable defense. On the other side of that edge, they've got a really good player in Will Anderson, and he's like 16-1 to win Defensive Player of the Year. They also got Derek Stingley on the back end. Long story short, I think any one of these guys is viable to get the Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm just going to go with the super long shot, the guy who had 12 sacks last year, who made the Pro Bowl, who's only 30 years old, who just got extended by the Houston Texans, and is going to be a huge part of that defense that, oh, by the way, is going to be attacking quarterbacks like Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, Cam Ward. It's not exactly a who's who of great quarterbacks. I think Danielle Hunter can do what he's been doing his entire career. And again, when I see Will Anderson on the other side, he's the younger, better prospect for this particular award. But I don't think the gap should be that wide between the 13 and 16-1 versus an 80-1. So I'm going to just go ahead and take a chance on the guy that I think is still pretty much in his prime and who can absolutely get after it with the sacks and the strip sacks and the causing turnovers and all those things. Give me Danielle Hunter, Defensive Player of the Year at plus 8,000. Mike, before we get to your golf pick for the Open Championship, PropStarz, any reaction? I mean, you can feel free to criticize this one. You probably haven't looked at this market too intently, but just splashing around at something like this, is it you hate it, you love it, you're kind of lukewarm about it? What is it?
Oh, I've looked at this market quite a bit, Sia. So, yeah, I think it's a good look. Obviously, hard to argue with 80-1 odds. It is interesting. Defensive Players of the Year, previous winners, like some commonalities between them. Typically, yeah, that's the edge position, high sack totals really correlate with winning the award. So, yeah, certainly within the potential range of outcomes for him to have 15, even 20 sacks. So, yeah, if that were the case, I think he'd be a good bet there. But, yeah, typically edge rushers tend to win minus last year. But, yeah, more so, I think 8 of the last 10 years have been interior, either edge or defensive linemen like J.J. Watt and Aaron Donald. So, yeah, I think you should start looking to defensive line first.
Mackenzie, you had, if I recall correctly, Defensive player of the year. You had somebody on the back end, correct?
Yeah, I went for Kyle Hamilton, who obviously is pretty long shot as well, given the safety position and the history or lack thereof of safety winning. But I feel like this could be potentially, he's just put in such a perfect situation. I feel like there were so many offseason moves that put him in a good situation as well. And if there is a time to dethrone an edge, maybe it's with Kyle Hamilton.
Can I ask a follow-up question? And this is for any three of you before we get to the Open Championship pick. I'm not a Texans guy. I actually thought they would step back last year. Believe it or not, I was on the Indianapolis Colts because I thought we'd get a better baseline from Anthony Richardson. And it was at a somewhat long number. But I have a hard time believing, especially with this Texans defense specifically, that somebody's going to dethrone the Texans for the AFC South. Does anybody, I think the Colts are sneaky if they get some decent quarterback play, whether it be from Richardson or Daniel Jones. Does anybody have any commentary on the Texans not winning the division, that some other team emerging here?
I agree that the division is wide open. I lean to the Colts a little bit. I know Proppy could maybe get behind another team, but not necessarily an official play by any means. But I think that the division is mostly up for grabs, and I don't think they should be such a strong favorite. The Texans.
Fair enough. Proppy?
Yeah, no, I would agree. If I were to lean another way, it would be Jacksonville. I think Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence potentially is in a good spot to bounce back. I love Travis Hunter as well. I think there's some good pieces on the defense. So I can see a potential scenario where Jacksonville is competitive, but I think their ceiling is maybe 9-10 wins at best. It is a very soft division. But yeah, I do think Houston has the most talented roster by a decent margin.
Mackenzie, any thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, we have them right at 9 wins. I will say I'm pretty out on the Colts. Without a starting caliber quarterback, I have a very hard time believing you can win more than 7 games. So they had such a soft schedule last year, and Anthony Richardson threw 12 interceptions in 8. So I don't know how the math works that's going to improve this year. And Daniel Jones is your other option, which speaks for itself. So
I think, yeah.
But I don't know why they're second shortest odds.
I think if you like the Colts and you're willing to bet the Colts, I know this sounds crazy. Maybe this is just me. It wouldn't break my heart if I was a Colts backer if Daniel Jones was the starter week 1. Because at least I know what that stability and baseline is. I know we don't associate that word with Daniel Jones, but we certainly don't associate it with Anthony Richardson. I think Daniel Jones could bring some stability to the position. By the way, speaking of Jacksonville, I don't like Jacksonville this year, but Brian Thomas Jr., that guy's going to break out even more so than last year. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. is just an absolute star. Even a guy like Trevor Lawrence can continually feed him and get him yards and touchdowns. Yes, that was a dig on Trevor Lawrence. All right, Mike, let's go. Oh, Mike, go ahead.
Part of my non-interest in the Texans is their difficult non-divisional schedule. I think it puts them in positions where they're just getting beat up week in and week out. I think it'll make it more difficult to be healthy. And if they don't win some of those games and they're not having as much team success overall, I think it could be a problem in the locker room. And what I mean by that is the schedule they have to play. First of all, week 1 against the Rams, that's not going to be an easy matchup for them at all. They play the Ravens, they play the Bills, they play the Chiefs, they play the Broncos, they play the Chargers. Those are all playoff teams, every single one of them. Potentially, right? I don't think the AFC West going to get all 3 in the playoffs, but they're all 3 playoff caliber teams in the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos.
On CBS Sports Network today, where you'll see some of these faces on CBS Sports Network. We are covering we're going to do 2 betting profiles, 2 team betting profiles. It's going to be the Denver Broncos, who I absolutely love, and the Arizona Cardinals. And of course, we're going to be doing some MLB stuff, some home run derby stuff, and I believe some NBA Summer League stuff as well. So today at noon on CBS Sports Network, tomorrow at 1, and Wednesday at 1, and then Thursday at noon as well. Early Edge on CBS Sports Network. All right. Mike McClure, let's go to the Open Championship. Speaking of Thursday, very early morning, that's when the Open Championship is going to start. I'm going to have some picks. We're going to do the DFS show today at 7 o'clock on the SportsLine YouTube channel. Best Bets show tomorrow. With that said, you already have a best bet. Go ahead.
Yes, it's a familiar name if you've followed the early wedge in the last 10 days. It's Marco Penge. We talked about him heavily on the DFS show last week. If you played him, you were probably very, very happy as he finished T2, won me a lot of money, probably won you a lot of money as well. I'm going right back to him here in a top 40, including ties market, plus 160. That's around 38%. I think that number is way off. I actually have over a 12% edge on this tournament number. I fully expect it to move over the next 48 hours or so. Wouldn't shock me if this fires off around even money by the time the tournament starts. So when I look at Penge, first of all, he's had so much experience playing on the World Tour, which I think correlates way more to playing over here across the pond. But he's also played well in America in a couple good events. And I think that some of this was coming, right? You saw T2 at the Scottish. He had a lot of great results leading into it, including T28 at the PGA Championship. And what was notable about that, he had a third round 74 there. If he was remotely close to his other 3 rounds, which were very, very good, we're talking about a top 5 finish at that PGA Championship. He checks all the boxes for me. He's long enough off the tee, sneaky long off the tee. And I think he gained and kept a ton of confidence the way he was able to have success in that field at the Scottish Open. So for me, it's just a simple misprice. When you look at those early in the week, this is priced very similar to where he was and where he has been. However, I think his game has elevated to a point where he shouldn't be at that spot. Again, remember the cut rules when you come to an event like this. It will be top 70 and ties. If he's able to make the cut, he is in a very, very strong position to cash this ticket when you're talking about the including ties market. Give me Penge here, top 40 plus 160.
Yeah, I mean, that top 40 could be top 45 with the ties involved there. So Marco Penge is certainly an up-and-comer, a great, great name. Buckets, before we get to our final NFL future, courtesy of PropStarz, there were a couple of soccer questions, one from Dano. Before I get to the question, Wu-Tang Forever's real name is Houton. So happy birthday, Houton and Liddy. UPL future. Dano says, Buckets, Liverpool has obvious emotional motivation. That aside, do they have enough to repeat as EPL champions for the upcoming campaign?
That is a terrifying question to me. EPL futures are so difficult with how much still has to happen during this transfer window. We got to remember that Liverpool just spent $110 million to pick up Florian Wirtz, which is a lot of money for a player that needs to play a very big role that is going to be going through a grueling season. I think it sucks to say this. We're going to see a lot of injuries in this upcoming season because players did not get the break that they normally get during the summer with the FIFA Club World Cup and with other international competitions. So I'm very just hesitant to play futures right now in general because players are not happy and they're already tired before the season's even started. That being said, I do think it's going to be Liverpool or Manchester City, but I'm not confident enough in anyone until we finish this transfer window to actually put money on a future.
All right. Speaking of futures, PropStarz, we do have to get to you, but I want to give a shout out to Not Right B. He says Jazz Chisholm home run derby winner, which reminds me of when we were all the early edge team was at Yankee Stadium on Wednesday. And a couple of things happened. One, we had Amags predicting Jazz Chisholm hit a home run, but we had Jake Fettner in the SportsLine model predict all 3 home runs that day. Jazz Chisholm was one of those 3 as well. And that was an amazing catch. So anytime I see Jazz Chisholm's name, I think about how he trots around the bases and that we got to see him live hit 2 home runs. And we're going to do something like that again very soon for this early edge group. All right, NFL futures. Let's do one more, PropStarz. Talk to me about Matthew Golden.
Yeah, I'm fading Matthew Golden, rookie for the Green Bay Packers, going under 750 yards on his season-long number. I know there's some 725s floating out there. Also very comfortable with that number as well. I think Matthew Golden is going to struggle right out the gate. I don't even think he's going to be in a full-time role either. First off, going to Green Bay, we know this Matt LaFleur offense. They're a run-first team. They run the football quite a bit. They don't want Jordan Love dropping back more than 32, 34 times per game. And then if we look at the group of pass catchers, they lack a true number 1. But you've got Jaden Reed, you've got Dontavian Wicks, you've got Christian Watson, who's going to be back. He's starting the season on the PUP list. You've got Tucker Kraft. You've also got Josh Jacobs, who's a capable pass catcher. So he's at best 4th or 5th in the pecking order when we look at the wide receivers. But heading from college, he really struggled against man coverage throughout his college career, his collegiate career, that is a really bad sign for just basically getting on the field in the NFL, especially as a rookie. So I think he's going to be a situational deep threat. He's going to need at least 80 to 90, maybe even 100 targets to eclipse 700 yards. So yeah, I think this is a great spot to fade the rookie, who I don't even anticipate running a full route tree, especially, again, if he's struggling with man coverage at the NFL, where it's going to be a lot more frequent and a lot more difficult. So I love fading Matthew Golden. The fact that him and Travis Hunter, for instance, have the same number is crazy to me. So yeah, I'm fading Matthew Golden under 750 season-long yards.
All right. 52 days away from NFL season. A lot of NFL talk. It makes you think how much NFL talk and college football talk there will be on this show as we get to 50 and 40, 30, 20, and 10 days away. Tomorrow, bring your favorite number 51 to the show. Mine is an obscure Monty Coleman, but I'm sure you all have a different one. I did want to give one more shout out before we bring up the recap screen. It was Darren Mercurio. I believe his son Jackson's 4th birthday is today. Now, Jackson's probably not watching, but Darian, shout out to Jackson nonetheless. A lot of birthdays in this early edge chat. All right, I think we've got it all covered. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we get you all out of here on a Monday. I've got Danielle Hunter, Defensive Player of the Year, at 80 to 1. The other NFL future, Matthew Golden, under 750 and a half receiving yards at -110. Then we're going to golf. Marco Penge, top 40, including ties, at +160. We've got some games today, and oh no, I don't know that I was listening to the pronunciation, but I'm going to give it a shot. IA Akronis versus Reykjavik. Both teams to score plus over 3.5 goals, -130. Buckets, how did I do? Akronis was
you did good, but just a quick reminder to everyone, that's over 3.5. I think it's the first time we've ever done that instead of 2.5. Just want to make sure that people don't see the 2.5 and then complain about the juice.
Gotcha. Okay. Then we go to Courtney Williams tonight, over 13.5 points at -120. You heard we don't have a sports line pick today, but you heard us peppering some home run derby plays. So, take that for what you will. Tomorrow we'll come back with more picks. We'll have more to talk about. And we appreciate you joining us again on what you thought was a slow day, but we had plenty of picks and plenty of analysis for you as we took you through 27 minutes. And we're going to take you through a full 60 minutes today at noon on CBS Sports Network as we tackle some NFL team betting profiles, among other things, including MLB, NBA Summer League, and a lot of the sports line model stuff. Tomorrow, same thing, 1 o'clock on CBS Sports Network, Wednesday at 1 and Thursday at noon. Ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to Mackenzie Brooks, to Buckets, to PropStarz, to Mike McClure, and of course, Ben on the 1s and 2s and 9s and 10s. Thank you, everybody. Joe Neuenfeld, Brad Morris, Stephen Cook, Ray Brown, Jeff Stenberg, Lydia again, happy birthday, Brock Newsom, Danny Brasco's in here. It's going to be a great Monday. Let's have a positive recap screen tomorrow and a positive outlook on the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we rest our case.